Welcome. I'm Suzie Barbour, and I am so excited to be here with you guys today. I hope that you have been enjoying the rest of the summit. And we are going to talk about something so fun in this session. We're talking about you. And I just want to say right from the start that you are amazing. I mean that. You're amazing. I think executive assistants, virtual assistants, personal assistants, you guys are literally champions. We all know who runs the show for real. And sometimes people don't realize that you guys are this like unseen, incredible force that makes the world go round, I swear. And so I'm so excited to talk about you today, about your career. In fact, I wish that we could sit down and have coffee together. And if we did that, if we were sitting down and we were having coffee together, I would ask you, hey, how is your career going? And you know what you might say to me, because I've coached lots of executive assistants over the years, and they've said this to me. You might say, you know what, Suzie, if I'm honest, I'm feeling kind of stuck. I'm not sure, even though I love my work, that I can grow in a position like this. I'm not sure I can make enough money doing assistant work to really provide for my family. And as much as I love this work, I'm not sure how to talk to my boss about the fact that even though I'm their right-hand person and I make everything happen, I might want to do more. Man, I have been there. And the good news, I have some answers for you today on how to fix all that. So before we dive in though, I want to stop and I want to answer the question, why do I want to have coffee with this lady who's talking to me and says she has all the answers, right? Like, who am I and why should I be able to coach you on this stuff? So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself really briefly, and then we'll get back to my favorite subject today, which is you guys. But I am Suzie, as I said in the beginning, and I've been an executive assistant for a really long time. I started out as an executive assistant in my early 20s. Someone offered me a job. I had no idea what executive assistants did. And you guys, I was thrown into this world, if you've ever seen the movie Devil Wears Prada, where I was working for all the Miranda Priestleys of the world. I'm not kidding. On my first show that I did, I worked for a big event company. I jumped in a helicopter, and there were two former US presidents in the helicopter. I literally have worked with some of the greatest athletes and Olympians in the world. I've worked with former presidents, statesmen, leadership experts, best-selling authors, and celebrities. And I'm not going to name drop here. I would if we were really having coffee. But I've worked with some big names. It was the coolest job, you guys. And I had the privilege to build an executive assistant fleet that served leaders like that and ran an amazing executive assistant team. And I learned really quickly that, like I said earlier, you guys are what makes the world go round. But here's what happened with that job. After years of being there and being promoted from an executive assistant to a senior director of operations, I quit. Why? Because I was working 70-hour weeks and I had a really personal, significant loss in my life. And I just had come to the realization that I probably couldn't do this work and have a work-life balance, have a marriage, be a present parent, be a good daughter and a good friend and a good human being who wasn't exhausted. So I quit and I was trying to find a new line of work. Have you been there? A lot of executive assistants are. And you know what? I was introduced to Michael Hyatt. You guys might have heard of him. He is a leadership expert, New York Times bestselling author, platform builder. And when he first started his business, I was one of his first hires. And he was the first leader of his caliber that made me realize that you don't have to burn out to win at work. He taught me about winning at work and crushing your professional goals, but also succeeding at life, having a healthy marriage, a healthy body, a healthy work-life balance. And so that was amazing. And in the years that I was with Michael, I started again as an executive assistant. I quickly became his senior director of operations. We scaled the business together with the team to be on the Inc. 5000 list multiple years in a row as one of the fastest growing privately held companies in America. And we were able to double revenue every year and build a huge team. And once again, I got to build a team of executive assistants who made that world go round and helped scale the business. And they're some of the best in the industry today. So I say all that to say that I have spent most of my career being an executive assistant and growing from that role to a leadership role and helping leaders scale their business. So currently today, I'm the Chief Operating Officer of a new startup called Primal Potential. And I just am here to talk to you about your career growth. So back to that coffee chat. If we were sitting down and you had said some of those things to me about what you're struggling with in your career, the first piece of advice that I would give you is I would actually ask you a question. And I would say, what do you want? Executive assistants, personal assistants, administrative assistants, whatever your title is, we spend all of our time thinking about how to anticipate needs for other people and thinking about how to make what they want happen and helping them reach their goals. But when was the last time that you sat down and that you asked yourself what your dream is, what you're passionate about, what your vision is for your career? You have to have a vision for your own career. This is your one life. This is important work, and you have to have a vision for where you want to go. So maybe after today's summit, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, or schedule yourself a day off in a week, and better yet, start out with massage and then go do this exercise. And ask yourself some questions. What about my work do I love? What kind of money do I want to make? What kind of title is important to me? Maybe titles aren't important to you, but maybe they are. Do you need an executive assistant title for the rest of your life, and that's great? Or is it important to you at some point to have been an executive, a president, an owner, a director? What is meaningful to you? There's no right answer. It's whatever you want. But the point is, get clarity on what you want. Who do you want to be professionally? Write it down and own it unapologetically. What is your vision for your career? The next thing that I would tell you to do is to evaluate the leader that you're working for. Now you're probably like, hold up, Suzie, this coffee chat just got a little weird, because don't executives hire me? I applied for this job. They picked me. My job is to support them. What are you talking about? What I want to tell you today is that you have a full choice in who you work for, and who you work for matters for your career, especially if you have a vision of someplace that you want to go. Are you working with a leader who thinks that you should make pretty close to what you're making and do exactly what you're doing for the next 30 years? That is a dated model, you guys. That is no longer applicable to our industry. That's not what executive assistants and personal assistants like yourself are looking for anymore. You need to work with a leader who sees you, who sees your value, who champions you, and who wants you to grow beyond the role that you're in now. They need to know and support and tell you that when you win, they win. And so that's what you really want. You want a leader who's in your corner, who's open to talking about what's ahead for you, who invests in your personal and professional development, and who's kind and a cheerleader and a champion for you. You also want someone that you can learn from. Is this person an example that you want to follow? Are they someone that you want to be like? Are they making a difference in the world? Who you choose to work for, especially when you are an executive assistant and you are so close and you can learn so much from them, it matters. So get your vision, and once you have that locked in, ask yourself, is the leader that you're working with serving that vision? Here's the good news. Almost all of the time, they are. Leaders are champions for their teams, especially good leaders. And so hopefully you're working with one that is looking out for you and will help you achieve your goals in the long term. The next thing I would tell you to do is to start taking practical steps to advancing your career and to get to that goal that you have in mind. And when I say practical steps, I do not mean to create a plan that you're going to activate in 3 years or 6 years or 10 years or 2 years. I mean today. What are you going to do today that's going to get you closer to this goal and this vision that you have in mind? Ask yourself every morning at the start of your day, ask yourself, hey, what is one thing I could do today that will move me closer to the person that I want to professionally become? What's one thing? Write it down and then commit to making it happen. You make stuff happen every day for other people. Make stuff happen that moves you closer to your goal every day. It's going to look different for everyone. For you, it might be finally scheduling a meeting to bravely talk to your boss about the promotion or the raise or the path, the growth path in your company that you want to pursue. It might be as simple as making sure that you deliver that next project early, ahead of schedule, and under budget with excellent results. It could be getting a book to learn about a new skill set or investing in yourself and taking an online course. There are a lot of things you can do today to move you to where you want to go. So just make sure that you're investing in yourself on a daily basis and that you're making decisions that move you closer to your goal. Here's a really great career tip for that, okay? When I was an executive assistant, I would always approach every day acting like the next job that I wanted to have. I would embody that. So, for example, when I was an EA, every project I did, every meeting I showed up to, every person I hired or interviewed, I would act like I was a manager, not an executive assistant. I would contribute like I had that salary. I would dress like I had that salary, carry myself that way. And I would take responsibility and ownership and initiative as if I had that role and that title and that responsibility. When I was a manager, I acted like a director. When I was a director, every day I showed up at work acting like I was an executive and acting like I was responsible for the success of the business and the budgets that I was working with. And now that I'm an executive, every day I try to show up and think like an owner. I try to think like this is my business, and every financial decision I make, every interaction I have with a customer or a client or a team member, I act like this business is my baby and I'm the owner of it. And one day, who knows, I might be the owner of my own business or businesses, and you could be too. If that's important to you, show up every day as that next role that you're reaching to and do one thing every day. It could be really simple that sets you up for success to reach your long-term career dreams. Okay, so we have talked about catching a vision for your career, establishing it, knowing what it is. We've talked about making sure that you're working with the right leader who will champion you and help you get there and is so supportive of that, right? And will invest in your learning and be there for you. And we've also talked about taking action, taking practical steps on a daily basis, embodying the professional that you want to become in your day. And that is all well and good, guys. Okay. It's amazing to be ambitious. It's amazing to be unapologetically and energetically excited about your future and growing in your career. But while you're climbing that ladder and making things happen and moving on up, what I want you to hold on to most today is this truth. It's so important that you don't lose sight of the joy of your work. Here's what I mean by that. You have to love what you do in the present day, even if you're future focused. Because here is where the magic happens, right? When you are joyful about the work that you're doing, when you believe that the work that you do matters, and it does, when you believe that simple things like scheduling a calendar invitation, getting an email inbox to zero, making sure that your executives world is spinning and all those balls are not being dropped in their personal and in their professional life. When you're anticipating needs, managing details, you're making a difference. You're adding value. And it's okay to think about where you want to go, but also to be humble and present and love the work that you do. Because here's what that's going to produce for you. At the end of your career, you're going to be able to look back and you're going to be able to say, I did that, right? I moved up. I got that title I wanted. I got that pay rate I wanted. Or maybe you want the same title and the same pay rate, and that's not important to you, but you got the scope of work and the significant work that you wanted to be doing in your existing role. Whatever it looks like for you, you're going to be able to look back, be proud of what you did, but you're also going to be able to say, you know what? I had a lot of fun, right? This is your one life. This is your one career. And you need to show up and have joy and love what you do and know that it matters. Remind yourself that it matters and do it with excellence. But while you're doing that and while you're serving everyone else and making everything happen for everyone else, if we were having coffee today, I would tell you, please don't lose sight of what you want. Don't lose sight of your career. And I would also tell you, It's super possible to grow from an executive assistant to a director, to an owner, to an executive, to move to a different area. The possibilities are endless and you are capable. So I hope these practical tips today helped you out. Remember, get a vision, work with a leader who's going to help you reach that vision. Make sure you're taking daily practical steps to get to your goals and have fun. Love the work that you're doing. Put your hands to work that matters and enjoy it.